Good day, everyone. My report is all about RA 7722 or Higher Education Act of 1994. Your reporter today is Danica Joy C. Iscolano. An act creating the Commission on the Higher Education, appropriating funds therefore and for other purposes. The creation of the Commission on the Higher Education, it is governing body that covers both public and private higher education institution in the Philippines. It was established on May 18, 1994 through Republic Act 7722, also known as the Higher Education Act of 1994. It is created in the view of the board agenda for reforms which is resulted from the Congressional Commission on Education, or they called as IDCOM, report on 1991 under the leadership of Senator Edgardo Angara. The CHED powers and function. So, it is direction settings, policy formulation. Second, general supervision. Third, the quality assurance monitoring and evaluation. The third is funds management. And under the Commission on the Higher Education, there are 21 sections. So first, section 1, it is the title, entitled Higher Education Act of 1994. In the section 2, declaration of the policy, the state shall protect, foster, and promote the right of all citizens to affordable quality education at all levels and shall take appropriate steps to ensure the education shall be accessible to all. In the section 3, creation of the Higher Commission of the Higher Education, it is the commission shall be independent and separate from the Department of Education, Culture, and Sports, or DEX. And now we are now in DepEd. And attached to the office of the President of administrative purposes only. And section 4, composition of the commission. It is composed of 5 full-time members, 1 chairman, and 4 commissioners. The qualification of 5 full-time members should be: first, holder of earned doctorate; second, engaged in the higher education for at least 10 years; third, not candidate in the election; fourth, higher degree of professionalism; and the section 5, term of office. The chairman, terms of 4 years without prejudice to 1 reappointment. The commissioners, next 2 or for 3 years, last 2 for 2 years. And section 6, rank and emoluments. The ranks, it should be the chairman, Department of Secretary. The commissioner should be under secretary. The emoluments of these shall receive compensation corresponding to their position. Now, in section 7, the Board of Advisors should meet the commission at least once a year. So, the composition, it is the Secretary of Education, Culture, and Sport as chairman. B, Director General of the NEDA as a co-chairman. C, Secretary of the Science and Technology. V, Secretary of Trade and Industry. E, the Secretary of Labor and Employment. F, President of FAAP. And G, President of FAPE. So in section 8, the powers of function of the commission. First, formulate and recommend development plans, policies, priorities, and programs on the higher education and research. 2. Formulate and recommend development plans, policies, priorities, and programs on research. Third, recommended to the executive and legislative branches, priorities, and grants. And number 4, set minimum standards for programs and institutions. 5, monitor and evaluate the performance of programs and institutions. 6, identify support and development potential centers of excellence and program areas. 7, recommended to the Department of Budget and Management the budgets of public institutions. 8, rationalize programs and institutions. 9, develop criteria for allocating additional resources. 10, direct or redirect purposive research by institution of higher learning to meet the needs of agro-industrialization and development. 11, devise and implement resource development schemes. 12, administer the Higher Education Development Fund. And 13, review the characters of institutions. 14, promulgate such rules and regulations and exercise. 15, perform such other functions as may necessary for its effective operations. And 4, to continued enhancement growth. In section 9, the Secretariat. The Secretariat, headed by the executive officers, subject to national compensation and possession of classification plan. It is determined the duties, qualifications, and responsibilities and functions. In section 10, the Higher Education Department Fund. It is established executively for the strengthening of the higher education. A, the government's contribution of the fund. Said capital is all about 500 million pesos. Second is initial operation. It is 50 million pesos. Third is 40% annual share on the total gross collection of the transfer tax. 30% share from the professional gross fee. And fifth, 1% of gross sales of PCSO. The second is 3 to 5% contribution from the financing institution. Third, private portions for donates, gifts, and conveniences. In section 11, management and administration of the Higher Education Development Fund. Must be administered by the Commission, shall be appoint a reputable government to the administer funds. The guidelines are, first, no part of the seed capital of fund, including earnings thereof, shall be used underwrite overhead expenses for administration. Second, earnings of the private contribution shall be used for administrative expenses. Third, Commission shall appoint and organize a separate staff. Fourth, the fund shall be utilized equitably according to regions and programs. And in section 12, the technical panels. Assess the Commission on setting standards in the program and institution monitoring and evaluation. It is composed of senior specialists or academicians to be appointed by the commissions. In the section 13, guarantee of academic freedom, exemptions of the abridgment of the curricular freedom of educational institutions. First, minimum unit requirements for the program. Second, general education distribution requirements. Third, specific professional subjects are not qualified. In Section 14, accreditation, the Commission shall provide incentives to institutions of a higher learning, public and private, whose programs are accredited or whose needs are for accreditation purposes. In Section 15, tax exemptions. Any donation, contribution, bequests, and grants which may be made to be commissioned shall constitute as allowable deduction from the income of the donor for income tax purposes and shall be exempt from donor's tax. In Section 16, authority. Exercise authority as may be deemed necessary within its premises or areas of operations to effectively carry out its powers and functions and to attain its objectives. It is provided the commissions may seek the assistance of the government agencies for the proper implementation of this act. In this section 17, appropriations. The 500 million pesos is hereby authorized to be appropriated for the seed of the fund. The additional amount of 50 million pesos is hereby authorized to be appropriated out of the funds Philippine Amusement and Gaming Corporation, or they are called PAGCOR funds. It is included in the General Appropriation Act. In the Section 18, transitory provision, all government entities having functions to those of the commissions are transferred to the commission. All the commission shall have the authority to appoint its own personnel. All regular and permanent employees shall not suffer any loss or rank of or emoluments. The transitory body shall facilitate the complete and full operations of commission. No, not be later than 3 months effectively. The transition period not exceeding 3 months shall be commenced from the approval. In the Section 19 repealing clause, all laws, presidential decrees, executive orders, rules, and regulations are parts thereof, which are inconsistent with the provisions of this act, are hereby repealed or modified accordingly. In the Section 20, separability clause, any part of provision of this act shall be held unconstitutional or invalid. Other provision hereof which are not affected thereby shall continue to be in full force and effect. In the Section 21, effectivity, this act shall take effect upon its approval. This is approved by the President of the Senate, Edgardo J. Angara, and the Speaker of the House of Representatives, Jose D. Venecia Jr. This act, which is consolidation of the Bill Senate number 1453 and the House number of 12200, was finally passed by the Senate of the House of Representatives on May 4, 1994, and by May 17, 1994, respectively, assigned Secretary of Senate, which is Edgardo E. Tumangan, and the Secretary General House of Representatives, which is Camilo L. Sabio. It is approved by May 18, 1994, and this is the time of the President Fidel V. Ramos. And there's are my references. And thank you and God bless. Have a nice day, everyone. Bye-bye.